Well, on the Ron Johnson show, we have a new segment. Call it shoot or pass. If I shoot it, I like it. I'm going with it. I'm rolling with it. If I'm passing it, it's like passing up a shot. It's just not for me. Somebody else, you can take the shot for me. So Sam, kick it off.
All right, you've got two options. You can shoot, and you can keep D'Angelo Russell on this team. He can be part of the big three going forward. D'Lo, Cat, Ant, some pretty cool nicknames in your big three, and that's your group. You can shoot, and you can take that. Or you can pass. You can pass on Russell. You can say, hey, we love you, but you are not Cat and you are not Ant. We're going to trade you, pick up some assets, and move on. And we're going to build around some other younger pieces, cheaper pieces. Are you going to shoot or are you going to pass, Ron Johnson?
Oh, that's a tough one. So many people doubted D'Angelo Russell. I think D'Angelo Russell's rocky pass. You think about when he came out of Ohio State, he was one of the top draft picks. He was in the Devin Booker camp. He was in the Karl-Anthony Towns camp. He's friends with all these guys. Um, and when you think about when you're in that camp, so like LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, Carmelo Anthony, those guys have always been in each other's camps. They've always been each other's, corners. I'm going to do whatever I can do to help my friend out. If we can play together, I want to play with you. And so originally when it was Karl-Anthony Towns and D'Angelo Russell, the thought was Devin Booker would come. And then you're like, man, D'Angelo Russell, that's a key piece because he can help get guys here. And then they draft Anthony Edwards and they don't draft LaMelo Ball. People wonder. I think the wonder is over now. In my opinion, I think LaMelo Ball and Anthony Edwards are both good. They both create energy. They both create an atmosphere of fun. They're a great teammate to be around. Anthony Edwards, though, he's a different beast. I mean, you look at his explosion, his quick first step. He's an attacker. He's attacking the basket. Whereas LaMelo, he's a finesse. He's cool. He's cute with it. He's passing it. He's going to shoot deep. But he's not an aggressive attack the rim guy. And I think that's what the Timberwolves needed. They needed an attitude. They didn't need a superstar in his own mind. And that's what LaMelo Ball is. Yes, he's good, but he's not where he can be. Whereas Anthony Edwards, he's going to give you points. When you add D'Angelo Russell, if you look at his season numbers, he played 65 games, started 65 games. So load management, we know that, nagging injuries, general soreness, all that kind of stuff. That's today's NBA game. When you have a nagging injury, you're going to be out. But when you look at his assists, 7 assists a game, he's not selfish. He's not like the old D'Angelo Russell. People assumed he always wanted to take the shot. Now he realized I got other guys that can shoot. But last night he showed it. When Anthony Edwards couldn't hit a three, D'Angelo Russell came down, fast break, knocked down a three that was probably one of the biggest threes of the night. That's the D'Angelo Russell that people forget. Averaged 18 points a game. So he way, shot above his average with the 29 last night. And so when you think about that, I'm going to shoot it. I would keep D'Angelo Russell because you pointed that out. You can't find another point guard that's willing to pass, willing to score 18 points a game, 7 assists. That's his average for the season, 18 and 7. And then when your star goes down, he can score, he can fill the basket up. Like the minute Karl-Anthony Towns got his 4th foul, I tweeted, D'Angelo Russell has to help Anthony Edwards out. That's it. I said Anthony Edwards can go, but he's going to need D'Angelo Russell, period. Somebody tweeted like, and again, my daughter's birthday is today, so happy birthday to Cameron. She turns 11. So last night I was a little bit back and forth, storm, trying to figure out how to stream it for 2 minutes while the storm cut out the satellite, trying to run around. So certain parts of the game I missed, but then somebody tweeted to me, nailed it. And I didn't realize what happened. Soon as the game came back on, it was probably 3 or 4 minutes later, it happened. D'Angelo Russell went on a tear. He went from, I think, what was it, like 1 or 2 points early on to like finishing the half with like 12 or something like that, or so, it was a ridiculous number. I can't remember what it was, but I know he went on a quick tear and scored like 9 points or something. And so I think that helped Anthony Edwards calm down too, realize like, okay, all is not lost. My boy is here. We can do this. And so that's why I would shoot it. I would keep him for the foreseen future. Just try to figure it out in the immediate. You got Karl. You got a guard. and you got a point guard. Now you just need a slasher to be able to help you out. Somebody like and I'm drawing a blank on a guy that could fit, but because cheap, because of course you would say like Siakam, or you would say one of the big slashers, Kevin Durant, but you can't afford him. But they need a body type like a Kevin Durant. They need one more guy that like a Horace Grant, going to do the dirty work, but can still put his back to the basket every once in a while. Or a guy like a Kevin Durant that can shoot, that's going to give you points. Of course, you can't get Kevin Durant, but I do feel like there's going to be some young, cheap pieces they need to try to add. They need a Sean Livingston type to come off the bench, a point guard that can run the floor when D'Angelo's out. I think Pat Bev is your defensive guy. He can be it. Your Sean Livingston could be your two, because Sean played next to Steph Curry. So we know he's interchangeable at 6'8". I mean, you find that, and I think you have a piece to end up in the 4th seed. They weren't far off. They're going to play a 2 seed who I don't think scares me as a 2 seed. So I would keep D'Angelo Russell in that big 3. It's all about chemistry. It sounded great to have Jimmy Butler with karl-anthony Towns and Andrew Wiggins, but the chemistry wasn't there. If there's no chemistry, you can't get wins. Like literally, if there's no chemistry, there's no purpose. Guys aren't shooting well. Guys mentally aren't into the game. What you saw last night was a guy, D'Angelo Russell, that had all the faith in himself because his team had it in him. But D'Angelo Russell of old with Swaggy P and texting Ziggy Elliott that your boyfriend's cheating on you, and all the bad blood and bad vibes that followed him, and teams that didn't really accept him because they didn't know if they could trust him. His shortstop with the Wizards, the Warriors, all of that is behind him. The Nets, that's behind him. I think now he can create a new chapter in life. He can possibly be known as a Timberwolf. If you think about what is going to transpire in the playoffs, I think they can get this done in 6. But I think that's the reason I would keep him.
There are a lot of complicated factors in play here. So doesn't it kind of feel a little bit like Durant, Westbrook, Harden with the Thunder? You've got Durant. I'm not saying that these players are equal by any means, but Durant is Towns in this case. You're not going to give up your 7-foot big man who can shoot threes as well as any big man ever. Ant is Westbrook. He's your fire. He is the pulse of the team. He is your explosive ball handling guard. And then Russell is Harden, kind of this a little more aloof, awkward lefty who just gets stuff done and kind of sneakily scores 30 on you. The Thunder obviously let Harden loose because they couldn't afford all of them. Harden turns out to be a star. Russell is only 26. I mean, it's possible that Russell could be a number 1 guy somewhere at some point in his career if he were entrusted with that role. I look at money. I mean, I'm always looking at the salary cap, Ron. D'Angelo Russell is worth $31 million next year, and it's his final year of his deal. So you're going to have a lame duck contract unless you extend him this offseason. And that creates an awkward situation because then you get to the deadline and you say, well, we're a pretty good team. We need Russell to get where we want to go, because I think the Wolves are going to be really good again next year. I think they can shoot for a 4 or 5 seed if they don't, get COVID like they did this year in the month of December. But as a front office, you have to look at that piece and say, we could get a first-round pick back. We could get a great player back. We could shed ourselves of $30 million and think of what we could do with $30 million. We could get those role players that you talked about, Ron. So I'm torn. Also, one more factor, karl-anthony Towns is buddies with him. Like, this was a big reason why karl-anthony Towns didn't get disgruntled and want to leave this city, is because they brought in D'Angelo Russell.
Yep.
And those two were tight. So if you traded Russell, you are risking, I think, disenchanting your franchise star. So I think I lean shoot. But I totally understand the pass. I mean, if you're floundering at the trade deadline, I think you got to cash in that asset, get the picks, get the players, and you're going to have to invest in Ant and Cat and keep those guys around and find another cheaper third piece.
Yeah, I agree. I would say if he had a terrible game last night, I probably would have been more on the pass side. But I'm captive by the moment. Like, I was up late watching this thing. Like, my adrenaline was going because I had guaranteed a win pretty much. And so when I started off watching this game and I said they were down, I was like, oh, here we go. Like, do not do this. Like, it was down. And there's the one thing I want people to remember. I said this. whoever's winning at halftime will win the game. And the Clippers were winning up into the last seconds of the first half. The minute the Timberwolves won the first half, I had faith that they would get it done. Even though the Clippers came out early in the second half, I knew whoever won that first half mentally had that edge, and they pulled it off. So it ends up being what it was every single game. And for those that bet online, if you bet the Timberwolves like I told you, you got some money. So go ahead and kick my Venmo a little bit of a percentage back, because I am the guy going to give you the information, win some money on betonline.com.